Most of these deals, they haven't been making payments in the last couple years. Usually what that means is no one's really taking on that initiative to take care of the property.
Alejandro Mendoza is a San Antonio real estate investor who turns tax delinquent title mess properties into wins. He takes on title risk, creates creative payment plans, and builds teams that scale. Get ready for a journey through risk, creativity, and the mindset that drives success.
How's the cash conversion cycle on that?
I would say our average is probably 4 months. So we have some that we're starting to get towards the end of that conversion cycle. Our challenge has just been maintaining cash.
What does it look like getting your deals now?
We're doing a direct mail. We don't have any cold callers anymore. Those are easier to manage. I feel like we have less competition.
If you want to be great, you have this illusion of choice, because there really is no choice. It takes what it takes.
What do you do? Where are you from? All that good stuff.
Alejandro Mendoza, I'm here in San Antonio. I'm from South Texas, from the RGV, Rio Grande Valley. So been here since 2018. I came over here to go to UTSA, and I just started real estate as soon as I graduated from college in 2020 and started working for a big wholesale company. I'm sure a lot of people know who New Western is. I was there for about 3 years, became a top producer, finished out number 2 in the company back in 2022, I think, or 23, 22. And then right after that, started a wholesale shop in 2023. Did that for almost 2 years. And just recently this year, I started something completely brand new where I'm more acquisitions heavy. I still do wholesale here and there. I still dabble into it, but I'm mostly doing partial interest buyouts, or basically there's a bunch of terms you can call it. Some people say DPA, distressed property acquisitions. I think Logan Fulmer, if you guys know Logan, I think he came up with that acronym DPA. It's basically buying properties that have title issues, cleaning up the title outside of title. So we're taking on a risk in the sense of buying properties without title insurance, without a title company. So basically become our own underwriters for a deal. Man, we've been doing that started this new company in February, but we really didn't break ground into it until I would say April. From April to now, man, it's been a complete change. It's been 6 months about? Really, man, it's been awesome though. We're starting to see the light, and I can go a little more into that.
Yeah, dude, I'd love to hear about it, especially going from a wholesale operation that's probably super cyclical, right? You have your kill it, nothing, which now you're in a position to where you're buying partial interest, taking on the risk, like you said. But how's the cash conversion cycle on that? Is it long too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I would say our average is probably 4 months, I would say. So we have some that we're starting to get towards the end of that conversion cycle. So this month we're a little strapped for cash, but we have a bunch of closings coming up in November. So we're looking pretty good. But yes, conversion cycle, it could be quicker though. I have one deal that I just scooped up 2 weeks ago. I should be 100% owner by the end of tomorrow, Saturday. A couple weeks of getting everybody on board. That's a pretty seamless process. It's in Williamson County. I think I could sell it pretty quickly and close it within 2 weeks. So that one will be within 4 weeks. So there is those anomalies. They're out there. And I've had some other ones that I've been able to close within 30, 40 days from start to finish. But yeah, there's other ones that were at it for 3, 4 months. So it's pretty cash intensive. That's been our challenge has just been maintaining cash. We have a ton of equity out right now, which is good. And so I think we should start getting to that, almost that break even point where we're about to start having a good chunk of change. And we could be a little bit smarter about it too, because one of the big mistakes that we did in the beginning was we're just giving people large payments up front. Now we can maybe do like a balloon or something like that. Basically, we can pay them like a percentage of it, 10% down. Let's just say I'm offering this guy $10,000. That's $10,000 cash that I might not see for another 4 months. Being strategic with it, I'm starting to set it up where if it's anything over $5,000, I'm telling them I'll give you 1,000 upfront, and then I'll give you the rest in 6 months. Unless I capitalize on this property within sooner, I'll give them the cash sooner. But 6 months, it gives me wiggle room just in case worst case it takes me 6 months. But if it goes over that, I feel by 6 months from now I'll be in a better position to give them that full payment.
I think that's cool to have that delayed gratification to go into a business model knowing this cash conversion is going to be, but it's going to pay off.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
it's cool. I know it's hard. So it's cool y'all are doing it and seeing the light through the end of the tunnel. What are the spreads like are you seeing on these kind of deals?
Yeah, so on average, I think we're averaging maybe 55, 60 around there, thousand. And then there's some outliers. There's going to be some that are bigger ones. Like I have one that I think we should be looking good to close next month. That one should give us close to hopefully 100 grand net. And so that one all in 20, 30,000.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, and that's just up front too. So a lot of people are
Yeah,
so
yeah.
scared to do that, but the return is insane. I love
Y-
those. That's cool
Yeah,
you're doing that, man.
100%, man.
So what does it look like? And this is cool that you've transitioned. What does it look like getting your deals now? Like used to wholesale, you're probably I know you're mailing, and then there's PPC, all the stuff, and you got the callers, you're calling, you're beating people up, trying to get the assignment. So
Hmm.
what does it look like now?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, since you touched up on mailers, I am still doing mail campaigns. So I would say 90% of or 10% of our deals are wholesale still. We're slowly getting rid of that just because I feel like it's a distraction for the team to be like, oh, let me switch my pitch up or whatever. If I get someone that's a new hire, they hear my guy's making a wholesale pitch and they're gonna be like, they're gonna get confused. I just want them to stick to the main thing. But right now we're doing a direct mail, but that's it. We don't have any cold callers anymore. And so those are easier to manage. I feel like we have less competition because if they're calling us from a mail piece, there's other people that send letters, but I feel like it's less competitive than someone that's getting ran through the phone. Let's just say it's an owner that's delinquent or whatever. I feel like anytime I had a lead coming from a VA that was my cold caller or whatever, that person was negotiating with 10 other people. And so it was a slow conversion with direct mail. I feel like they're calling me and they're like ready to make a deal or they're not. They're just trying to see what's up. But the ones that are ready to make a deal, they're calling me and they're like, hey, you sent me a letter. I want to sell my house. Here's what's going on. Yada. And believe it or not, a lot of these end up becoming, now that we know, we can transition into a curative title situation because a lot of these people that are calling us, they inherited the property, they have ownership issues, stuff like that. And so back then, I was still running it as a wholesale deal, work to do all this work to try to clear title, only to close and make like a 15 pop or whatever. And it takes you 6 months to get it done. Whereas now, instead of making that an option, if we see that it's pretty messy, we're gonna go in and offer the curative route. But as far as the campaign, we're still hitting the same type of lead. So I've always pulled lists, so at least I know that much. So we go straight to the county. We pull from like several counties that are centrally located to where we're at, which is San Antonio. So anything Bexar County up to Austin area, that's pretty much like the big chunk of our business. Not to say now we're actually doing statewide because with this strategy, man, there's opportunities everywhere. You don't need to know the market enough to, if you're in like in the middle of nowhere, let's just say George West or something, that market's not really good. So we'll stay away from that. But if I get a deal in Dallas, I don't really need to know the ARV. I just need to know, okay, I feel pretty safe of my offer. The numbers are pretty similar. That's been a nice advantage. But yeah, going back to what we're touching on is just tax delinquent lists from the county. So we're pulling from all the big major metros, but we stay pretty busy here in San Antonio. And so I think that answers your question. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically just tax delinquent, man. Tax
yeah.
delinquencies, counties.
And like on those lists, are y'all looking for anything? I talk to Logan, I talk to everybody all the
Mhm.
time. Come on, but what do you teach your team to look for when you pull those? Because you know what's funny is, and you know this, a lot of people pull tax delinquent lists, but they don't get the deals y'all get. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're not targeting the certain things on those lists.
Now
You
it's being
know?
focused for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. And that was the thing with wholesale, right? We didn't really know. I just knew that tax delinquent was good. We had cold callers doing it. We tried SMS when we were doing wholesale. We did direct mail. And I realized that what was working the best for us in direct mail, I'm giving the secret. This is what we do still on the tax delinquencies is we mail tax delinquent absentee owner. What that means is the mailing address is different from the property address. So that means that they don't live at the property. So it's either an investor, which most of the times investors pay their taxes. There's some investors that fall into our pipeline, but for the most part, these are people that inherited a property. And so a lot of the times these guys are calling us up and they're like, hey, I have all these problems going on. Help us out. Tax delinquent, absentee. If you want to just do like cold calls, ram tax delinquent, absentee, you're going to get better success than just doing bulk. But now on top of that, what we're looking for is no payment made in the last 2 years at least. Not to say that we haven't closed on a lead that has been making payments. But for the most part, what that tells me is, or what that tells our team, I've realized, I guess, over these last couple years that I've created like I guess like data. I've analyzed the data of all the deals that we've closed, and the data shows that most of these deals, they haven't been making payments in the last couple years. Usually what that means is no one's really taking on that initiative to take care of the property. And these could have tax lawsuits, these could have pending foreclosures or whatever. And the inevitable is usually it ends up getting foreclosed at the tax auction. So we try to come in where they're getting closer to that. Not all the times do they have tax lawsuits, but that could be a realm where you could look. But yeah, basically those a couple years no payments, that tells me that no one's really taking care of it. Because a responsible person, you might go a year and you forget to make your last bill, make your last payment, but the county will usually send you like letters if you're already a year late. And so by then people usually get their shit together and be like, oh fuck, my bad, I forgot to make last year's payment. Let me make it right now. And so they'll catch up. But 2 years after that, like something's going on. You at least come up with a payment plan or something like that. And some people don't, but a lot of the times it ends up coming to be like a good situation for us to come in to help. So it could be that the family inherited it. No one even either. It's happened to me where people don't even know about the house. They'll be like, "Oh, I thought the house got foreclosed or whatever." And so that has been money. Honestly, that's really what we're focusing on. And now I do have a team. So what my team looks like is I have two virtual assistants that just do data. And we call them data managers. All they do is scrape the county list. We have thousands and thousands of records, so they have not scratched the surface, but they're basically, you want to pop in? Yeah, Richard's jump in here. Let me finish on this. We basically scrape the county list. We will, they're looking through each one at a time, and they're checking on the county records to see the last payment made. So you could see payment history in the county if you didn't know. You go to any county tax assessor, and that's basically what they're doing. They do a little bit of research for us, and then they add phone numbers on our CRM, which is REI Sift. So REI Sift allows you to add up to 30 phone numbers. And then from there, our guys, it goes to our acquisitions team. We have a DIPS bucket. They go in there, they claim it, and they just call all the phone numbers. And so that's basically what's been working for us the most. So yeah, our sample size or our sample or whatever you call it, all the properties that we've closed on, 95 out of 100 have been those situations. 3 years no payment, 5 years, 10 years no payment. And so I would say that's been our main focus. I'm gonna switch you over to my speaker so I could get Richard on here as well, and he could talk about his experience as well. He could introduce himself too. Let's see. Speaker.
It's cool that you mentioned a payment plan. People don't even know that they can make a payment plan.
What it do?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm over here. I'm blessed. I'm rocking, brother.
Good deal.
Yeah, you touched up on the payment plan. So I'll tell you, I actually got this idea from you. I think I know I had joined your coaching and your mastermind like a couple years ago. And after I did my first 0% interest owner finance deal, it opened up my eyes where I'm like, dude, you could get really creative with this. So up until that point, I was just doing regular wholesale pitches. And after that, like I always had an additional offer. So now we always have options, right? Rather than just stick to the script and only one offer.
Yeah.
Now we do payment plans and balloons, and we try to get really creative with it. JVs now, we're doing JVs with sellers, help them. So similar to an innovation, we got creative with it. We just recently got our first JV deal. Richard could talk about it, but basically it came from like a tax delinquent. Actually, this one was in the foreclosure list. So sometimes we'll look into the foreclosures as well, tax foreclosures. And he came across one. I guess he can talk on how he did that one.
Yeah, man, it was a tax lien out in Henderson County. Ended up actually being a shit property. But while we were helping him with that one, he said, hey, dad left a property too. We can do his too out in Arlington. And that ended up being a banger. Mom left a life estate, had a life estate deed, Ladybird. Dad had no will. So it just went to him and his brother, real easy conveyance. And I just told him the pitch was essentially, we'll be able to save mom's house, we'll save dad's. They're both heavily delinquent on taxes, but only mom's was going to foreclosure. Dad's was just 20K in delinquent taxes with the tax suit attached, but no order of sale. And I said, we'll cure all this up, we'll convey the property, we'll just get under a JV and we'll split proceeds 50-50. And they said, let's go. And we got Arlington under contract right now. at 145, 20 in taxes, and we're splitting the 125, 50-50. Took minimal time. So it was great.
Awesome, man. Yeah, are you in that 20 in taxes? That doesn't get paid till you close. Like
Yeah,
people don't
that's
even realize it. It's we'll take care of all this. Yeah, when it closes,
Yeah,
you know, like
100%.
yeah.
they just don't think about it. And then, like you said, y'all get creative. You can even make tax plans on this stuff if it's a thing. So that's cool.
Yeah. And so
What?
that's been one thing, I guess, like with like some of the deals, they do end up getting like a order of sale while we're actually like an owner in it. And so I guess the only payment plan you could do is pay 50% of the tax balance and then 100% of all the attorney fees. Typically, it's Linebarger or one of those firms that does all those like foreclosures. We don't, we've never had to pay 100% of the property taxes.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Richard, what do you do at the company, man?
Yeah, so Alejandro and I are partners in it. I come from I didn't know how to spell real estate. I jumped in March was like my introduction to all things real estate. I was 15 years in enterprise software sales.
Sweet.
So I sold Fortune 300 software to groups that had about 1,000 to 50,000 employees and going kind of full suite in there. That was a journey in itself. And then I was just at a point in life, without going into a story, that ready to make a decision, maybe build something for myself, and it was a calling and the stars lined up. And I just said, F it, we're gonna full send it. Just everything we have been overnight. We got offices, hired a staff, set everything up and went in. So and it's been it to date, but heavy on rev gen, heavy on activity, heavy on building a sales team with good culture, heavy on accountability, and just making sure that we're moving that needle every day.
I like to touch on the sales team and stuff too, because we all have different experiences and we know a lot of the same people, I'm sure, and some are good at it, some aren't. Man, for me, I had to build like a VA team, just all VAs, just because every time I would train Americans, like you jump from New Western to do your own, because you're a rock star. It's so
Yeah.
hard to keep a rock star. Like I've never been able to pay him enough. And are y'all heard? Have y'all ran into that hurdle
And I
yet?
think that's you touched on it. A rock star, they want to get compensated. So I've learned from working at New Western, I still know a bunch of rock stars. Some guys that were bigger rock stars than I ever have been that are still loyal to New Western. And the big thing there is, man, these guys are making like a good buck. You can earn a lot of money there. You could really stay there and live a really good life. But I guess for me leaving, I guess I just felt like I wanted more. I felt like there was a next level to where I can make more, but I was just like, the next level for me is switch from dispositions to acquisitions. I might as well just learn acquisitions on my own and do my own thing and earn 100% rather than do my broker share or whatever. And so, anyways, I guess a big thing there is building good culture, being a leader, which I'm still learning to this date, but I was not as good of a leader as I was now when I first started. But working on leadership, I think has been an important one. And I guess in the beginning, I guess I got lucky. Not everyone has homies that are down to ride for you, like through the trenches in the early days. And so I'm lucky in that sense that I have some of my best friends since like we were kids. They moved from the valley over here to work with me. So they've been loyal. They've been seeing everything. Like they're changing their lives. Everyone's fairly young. We're all like mid-20s. And so they jumped in. They don't have much responsibilities right now. They're able to take this jump and help us like figure things out. But now we've figured things out. Everyone's starting to make some good money. Like I think one or two of our guys have already had a 10K month. And that's more than they've ever made. Like before this, like one guy, he was a police officer before, he was making maybe 50K a year or something like that. So he's already looking to make more than that this year. And he started working with me this time last year. So now he started to turn it around. It's pretty cool. But I guess the biggest thing there is, you still there? I don't know if okay, there we go. Yeah, it goes for a little bit. A cool thing there, I guess, as far as retention goes, we knew that in the early days, we're going to have to pay a little bit more. We're paying more than average. I'll tell you that. Like we're paying more than a lot of the other operators are. And we do it because we want to take care of our guys and we want to give them some props as well for grinding with us as we figure things out. Now we have a good system. And I think now we're able to build off of something like this. Probably change our compensation plan next year. We've already talked about it, but for now it's been like we're the sky is the limit for these guys. They have high earning potential. And on top of that, I guess it's building good culture, right? It's hard to build culture when it's just like two guys. Right now, it's six of us in the office. So we've grown a little bit. And with that, trying to create like a competitive culture, trying to create incentives. Hey, someone lock up a deal this week, it's been dry, throw you a cash bonus right now, whatever. That gets people pumped up. And I think also just building a camaraderie within. I guess for me, the advantage was that I already have camaraderie with these guys. I hang out with them on the weekends and they do respect me in that sense. I know some people will be like, hey, be careful hiring your friends or whatever. I honestly don't see it as a problem. Honestly, I think it's been helpful for us because they trust me and they don't like, even if they do talk back or whatever, they have a question or they want to challenge something that we're putting in place, like a new policy or whatever. I can have a straight up conversation with them, like, hey, bro, this is why, this is what's going on. We can talk about it and they won't be like pissed about it or whatever. And so I think that's helped out a lot. And now moving forward, we'll probably start hiring people that are not like friends or family or anything like that. But it's been helpful in the start. But we want to start getting maybe just like a random person that we found online, just try to see if we can build off of that and just create kind of culture. So I've learned from the new Western approach how they've done it. And again, retention has been really good because they have all that, right? They have good sales culture. They have a large team. So you go in and you see all these KPIs, people crushing it, people making bank, people driving nice cars, wearing nice clothes, whatever. And I think a little bit of incentive in that, I think it definitely helps people want to come and look forward to working here.
That's awesome. I love that, dude. And I know people say don't hire friends, family, whatever, but everybody starts hiring friends and family. Like
Yeah, I think,
everybody. If you look at it, they all are, that's how they start. And they go try
yeah.
to replicate it outside of that and build that. So
I
I think
feel
that's
like that's I feel like that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's a story that I heard from like New Western. Again, I bring up their name because I think about like how built what they've built. I think it's pretty nice. But if I'm not mistaken, the first like guys there, they were all like homies. I think they all grinded it out of like a bachelor pad type of thing. Everyone's just in there. I'm sure there was just like they're grinding in like the garage or something. I don't know. But that's what I imagine. We're not grinding in the garage, but we're grinding in this little office space. And it's made us like we're starting to build something pretty nice now.
That's badass, dude. I love that y'all are doing that. And kudos.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So what's next? What's the next plan? Try to double what y'all are like duplicate what y'all are doing now with outside people and like what are your goals?
Yeah, we'll talk on the numbers. So just I know people like to hear numbers. So this year, initially, we're optimistic. I think we'll make our goal for the 12-month cycle. But basically, since we didn't really start doing what we're doing now since April, and again, like these have longer close periods, I think by the end of the year, we might close like anywhere from 1.2 to 1.5 net profit million. And so our goal was 2 million for the first year. I feel like we'll get it in like if we're looking April 2025 to April 2026, I think we'll be there. But yeah, next year, I'm thinking we just had some business planning last weekend, and I think with what we have now and maybe hiring two more people and just stick with that for the full 2026, I think it's possible to hit 5 million. And
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
if we could do 5 million net, that would be freaking amazing. And then from there, yeah, we just build off of it. Of course, right now we're cash poor. We have a lot of equity and we have a lot of cash coming in these next couple months. But I think after that, we create, what is it? Sustain what we have, basically create something that is month over month, just growing or where we can maintain a really good production. On top of that, maybe get into owner finance deals or something like that. Hold the rentals, because that's one thing we don't have is assets. We're going to pay a good amount of taxes if this year. Next year, we want to see if we can reduce that tax bill for sure. And
Yeah,
just
hold
maintain
a
cash.
few of them maybe.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. So hopefully next year we can get a couple of those. I don't know if we could do it this year. We still have a couple months, but we're just trying to, we get money in and the money goes back out. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing.
Yeah, we just don't know what we don't know, and we're not too proud to say as much. So as we build this and think about what does scale look like we really just jumped off the cliff and building the plane on the way down.
Yep.
And so we just want to ensure we're mindful of where we're at and where we can make improvements. And same thing goes in leadership. I never wanted to be a leader. Like when I was carrying a bag, I went to leadership training. They're like, hey, Richard, all right, you've hit your number, high pedigree sales rep. Now it's time for a team. And me depending on other people for my money was never a comfortable thought, right? So I've always just been a hunter through, and we're still hunting, which is why I like I think the deal here is we're hunting and at the same time we're managing. I don't know if I could ever stop that, but we have good problems to have right now. But yeah, it's no matter what we bring in, we can easily find places to spend it. And so we're seeing where that's taking us, what that looks like, and then making sure that we're ambitious and we don't set ceilings for ourselves that don't need to exist. We don't have a scarcity mentality, right? It's just abundance through and through. And that's the MO moving forward, is just think abundantly, let the story tell itself, and trust and execute.
Yeah, I love it. Y'all got the right momentum. So that's all it takes. Momentum,
Yeah.
tenacity, the right people. I freaking love it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
amen.
y'all jumping on here and spending some time. Hang your
For sure.
episode to show people. So yeah.
And I guess I'll close off with a couple things. If someone's listening and we talked on team building and stuff like that, I think one thing that I've seen a lot of people fail on is you had to lead by example in the early days. I realized that the top producers are us two. Right now, we're the ones that are leading the team in production. And again, a lot of these guys, there's one guy that came from another sales team. The other guys, they have no sales background, but they're grinding. But I guess they don't see what the top producer looks like. Like for me, I went into a big, already established business and I was seeing like, oh shoot, this is what the top producer is doing, right? So they don't have that example here. The example here is us two. And so we just got to show up. And when we're like going hard as hell this month, I think everyone's starting to see it now. I've noticed a big change in our whole team where everybody's locked in and they're seeing it because we're both in the trenches with them. It won't be like this forever, but I think we'll definitely not stop producing. But I think that has been like huge for us, is just lead by example. Unless it's an established company, you can't expect these guys to come in and crush 1,000 calls a day and get 10 contracts in a month. It's possible, but just not everyone's like that until they see that that's like a reality for them as well. So I think that's been like a big thing for us in the beginning. In the first couple of months, I'd be frustrated, like, man, these guys just aren't making enough calls. They're too much downtime or whatever. And I'm like, shit, fuck it, let me just pick up the phones myself. And I'm showing him like, dude, I got this deal. I got this contract. It was right there in the freaking dibs bucket. No one claimed it. It was sitting there for a week. I called it. I freaking closed it. I'm going to make X amount.
Yeah. And I think it's just also, there's a thing that I always, that we always say, and it's a Nick Saban quote. I'm the director of a youth sports nonprofit, so I love coaching quotes in general. But if you want to be great, you have this illusion of choice, because there really is no choice. It takes what it takes, right? So it's always, it takes what it takes. If you want to be great, you can kid yourself to death, but at the end of the day, it takes what it takes and there's no alternative. So you can try to be ignorant to that fact or deceive yourself or delude yourself, but at the end of the day, it just takes what it takes. And it's okay to be average. It's okay to not want that for yourself. But if you tell yourself that you want that, then you need to commit with the input that's going to bring that output. And same thing, if I was going to tell anybody anything going into here, is it's no coincidence that you have people with significant wealth and success, such as yourself and others, innumerable amounts across the country via real estate. It's not an accident. It's because it's a vehicle that can get you there, but it takes what it takes, right? And you ultimately have to just go in. Quick testimony was our sales cycle is about 3 to 4 months. And on our first sales cycle, we put in a whole bunch of money. We're here 60 hours a week plus. And I was starting to be like, man, I have a 16-year-old son, 12-year-old daughter, a family that I've created a lifestyle for that they didn't really want to take a step back on. And I got an offer from my holy grail of an employer that I always wanted for 15 years. I always wanted to work for this one. They're a Fortune 100 group, just top of the line, everything. And they were like, hey, Richard, opening up a market down South Texas, really looking at 200K base, 350 to 400 OTE. And man, I started thinking, like, without even trying, like these conversations I was going to have with Alejandro, be like, man, I know I said I was going to do this with you, dog, but I got this and the other. Like, I started thinking of that conversation, and this is back in April or May. And I think the next day I got a call back from one of the individuals that I've been talking with, and they're like, all right, Richard, let's do it. And we ended up making 85 on that deal. And I was like, all right, say less, man. I just did not return that I did not accept that offer, and I couldn't have been more pumped to be able to decline that and then just build something special here moving forward. But it takes what it takes. So it's not going to fall in your lap. Just do the work. It sounds simple, but sometimes that's all it is, right? It's simple, but not easy.
Love it. Love it. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next chapter. We'll have to do this again.
Heck
Yeah, right on, man. I appreciate you. Just pure value. Just, it's priceless. I have somebody with just your pedigree and then vast of knowledge being willing to share it as abundantly as you do. A lot of people wouldn't. So that's really dope, and we appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Y'all keep kicking ass, and we'll see you on the next one.